shut up.
BB-8.
BB-8, Burke.
Greetings guys, it's TC topic time once again. I'm Graham, he's Martin.
Hi.
Today's topic comes from Scott, who wants to know our most memorable boss fights in any game we've played.
Yeah. This is a good one.
This is a good one.
I like boss battles, I like them a lot. What?
I do like them sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Am I going? Right,
Go for it.
let's do it. Right, okay, I've got a couple that spring to mind straight away. First one, okay, isn't going to be one boss per se, but it's a collection of bosses.
Right.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Jesus Christ, Shadow of the Colossus is a great game anyway.
It is.
To have each boss battle, now, there's only like the 16.
Yes.
But there's no enemies, so when you think, oh, there's no enemies, only 16, like, well, how can that be good? Each boss is a puzzle
Oh, it
in
is.
its own right.
Yeah.
And the whole point of those bosses is to work out each weakness and to solve the puzzle
Yeah.
to kill them. And it involves a lot of climbing, a lot of thinking, a lot of remembering patterns and things like that.
Yeah.
Using your environment wherever possible to get an advantage over the bosses. Very, very big bosses that look impossible. Very, very small ones. And it's just got a huge selection of these weird ones. And what I loved about it was collecting the really, really big bosses that did ridiculous damage on you, combining that with how epic the music was,
Yeah.
and having to rely on your horse aggro as well. So there'd be bits where, you know, the sounds and everything like that, it's epic music, and you see this huge thing looming over you, and you need to get away, and you have to press the button to shout for the horse.
Yeah.
But the sound was like, if you call from it, he would just go aggro, and like he would come to you. But during a boss battle,
Yeah.
he would go aggro,
Yeah.
and like shout and scream, and it just put you in that moment. So if you're running and you see the horse catching up with you, and you could jump onto the horse
Yeah.
to get away, all those moments fitted in with trying to solve the puzzle of defeating the boss.
I think, yeah, the puzzle side of things is what made it most exciting and memorable, because it was literally, you went into these boss battles without a clue as to how you were supposed to be doing damage
Yeah.
to them, and a lot of the times it was about spending 5 or 10 minutes observing the way that the boss moved, the attacks that it did, to try and figure out, right, how do I get onward? I mean, in terms of, you knew by and large that you were supposed to get onto their head where there was a weak point and
Yeah.
stab the shit out of its head.
Yeah.
But it was about, right, how the hell do I get
How
there?
do you
in the
get
first
there
place?
anyway? Exactly.
Like, there was some of the bosses, I mean, there was one quite early on, I don't know if you can remember it, it was like this giant, and it's got like this stone kind of
Yeah,
hammer.
it was the third one, yeah, I remember.
But you had to, and he swings this hammer down on you.
Yeah.
But you had to make sure that he swung it down in a particular place.
Yeah.
So that it shocked him, and you could run up the hammer.
That's right,
And things
yeah.
like that. It was because you'd spent so much time trying to figure it out.
Thinking, what do you do? How do you do it? But there was multiple ways, yeah. So obviously he would come out and strike it, then you could run. Sometimes you could even run up the
That's
hammer.
what I used to do.
Or if you hit the metal part of the land, it would shock and it would shatter his armor on his arm.
That's right.
And then you jump onto his arm and then climb up. Do you know what I mean? So there's multiple ways of doing it. That was, yeah, Shadow of the Colossus.
It was
so good.
It was
so
really,
good.
really good. When I think about bosses, what I tend to come to is things like, in terms of very challenging experiences, fighting games. And one in particular, let's talk about Seth. Street Fighter 4.
I've fought worse than Seth.
Seth was cheap. It was a cheap boss because...
Was he?
Yes, because the
I think
round
it's cheaper ones.
round 1 was not too bad. It was
Yeah.
round 2 when he became hyper fast,
Yeah, he
using
did.
all of the most powerful
Yeah,
attacks
he
from the
did.
other characters.
Yeah.
That did twice as much damage.
I don't want to... Why'd you bring up bosses in fighting
I've got
games?
another one
They're
for you as
so
well.
they're stupid.
Yeah.
They take you completely out of the experience to begin with. All of that hard work you've put into getting up to that point, and he just... It doesn't glitch on you, but it just cheats you.
Yeah.
And that's what I hate when you get to that point in the game. I hate.
There was 2 that came to mind. It was Seth was one, and the other was Azazel, who was the last boss in
Azazel.
Tekken 6. And the
Azazel,
boss,
Jinpachi.
all
He
of
was
them,
a pain in the arse.
True Ogre, all of them.
But he would counter the button command that you put in which doesn't make sense because I don't know how it works. Do you know what I mean? So you trigger it, and then it automatically puts a command in where it's going to do a move. Where it doesn't. It's just it's so stupid.
Yeah.
I hate you for mentioning boss battles and beat 'em ups.
So the thing is, you can take it back to the earliest fighting games that we played, which are things like Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Bison was difficult, he was challenging, but he wasn't cheap. You could watch Bison's attacks, you could find that you could work out based on who you were playing as how to counter and get around his attacks.
Yeah.
Seth, it was just a lot of the time it just felt like pure luck that you were beating him.
Yeah.
There was no skill to it, and it made it not fun.
Yeah. I've got 2 bosses that I've thoroughly enjoyed playing, and they both come from the same game, and that is The End and The Sorrow.
I was going to say The End.
Oh yeah.
The End.
The End and The Sorrow from Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Yeah.
The End was so special.
Yeah.
Because of just the time it took. That was sniping.
Yeah.
At its gaming best, wasn't it? Really, I kind of think of another game that was as good as that in terms of sniping.
I mean, it's because what it took was it took the kind of the sniping experience that you'd had with Metal Gear Solid 2, and it just ramped it up to something more incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was because you had I think there was 3 different areas where he could be
3
hiding,
areas, yeah.
and the lack of a radar meant you had no idea where he was, and he could pick if you were in the same area that he was and he saw you, he'd pick you off from a mile away.
Yeah.
So it was, you had to creep around, and it was all about the added incentive to try and kind of get behind him so you could get his camouflage. But the battle was so well done in that. It's I think when the battle first starts, it's just there's no music. All you can hear is the sound of the forest around you, and you know he's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible. The fight with the Sorrow was awesome in that fight and how it panned out was entirely dictated by how you played that game.
Yeah, I know.
So if you'd gone through the game killing every enemy that you came across, you had waves of spectral enemies coming towards you. Whereas if you'd killed nobody, it was just an empty
thing,
and you just walked along it. But it was amazing.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the music for The Sorrow was really, really good. The atmosphere that it gave you and stuff like that. It had its all. It had a Kojima. Kojima had his.
Oh, it was all.
Had his hands all over that boss. You know what I mean? It was just so special. And going back to The End, I loved how there was multiple ways you could beat him as well.
Yeah.
By changing the clock, or even if you didn't change the clock on the PS2. So if you saved that game and turned it off.
Yeah.
Put it on and turn it on. 1 day later, he'd catch you. You'd wake up, you'd fall asleep, and he would beat you, and you have to start the boss from the beginning, regardless of how much health.
But didn't you end up in the? I'm sure in that case you ended up in a prison about half an hour's distance back, and you had to make your way back.
Make your way back, just because you saved it, and you never finished it.
Yeah.
However, if you saved it and didn't go back on for a week.
Yes,
died.
He just died, didn't he?
He died of old age.
Do you know that it's also possible it is possible to kill him the first time you see him in the whole game?
I did it. You got to snipe him. He gets wheeled out of a complex. He's in a wheelchair, and if you've got the sniper rifle, you can kill him.
But what happens then when you get to the forest where you would fight him?
It's like a cutscene where there's nothing, and you walk straight through it.
That is so good.
So clever.
That is so clever.
Yeah.
There's a couple that I want to mention just because it's when I finally got through them. Again, it's that feeling of thank God. The Materia Keeper in Final Fantasy VII.
Are you here?
Now, the Materia Keeper, looking back, is not a particularly difficult boss. He really isn't. But because I'd never played an RPG before, I didn't know the benefit of leveling your character up at that point, because you don't fight him that far into the game.
No, you don't.
And I struggled and struggled and struggled. And I remember when when I finally beat him, he went red, and I just chucked the controller down on the floor. And in my room, on my own, and I was just, and I just went on and on. And I just sat there and I was like, thank God for that.
I remember you telling me about that as well, you know.
It was the bane of my life for days on end, and the feeling of relief. And then more recently, and I don't even know how you pronounce this one, to be quite honest with you.
This is from Bloodborne by any chance, right? Okay.
There's a boss called, it's either Ebrietas or Ebritus. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's an optional boss that you don't have to fight. And she is incredibly difficult.
Right, okay.
Most difficult boss that I came across in Bloodborne. I came across her first when I was severely underleveled to be taking her on, so I got absolutely caned. Even at the point where I was getting towards the back end of the game and I'd leveled up and I was pretty much destroying most of the bosses, by the time I got to the end of the game I was taking out most bosses in 2 to 3 goes.
Right.
Ebrietas was one of the bosses that took me the longest to do, and even at the end it was still a struggle, but again it was that feeling of utter relief once I finally got through it.
That's good.
Kind of beat it.
That's class. There's some good ones there.
Yeah.
I like that. I can't believe you mentioned the boss battles and beat 'em up.
Yeah, but you can't talk about stressful or
I'm raging
memorable
now.
boss battles.
Yeah, but memorable in the worst way?
Well,
in the worst way?
But still memorable.
Oh, God.
Scott, thanks very much for your question. Please let us know your most memorable bosses, whether it's memorable for a good reason or memorable for a bad reason.
Beat 'em
Would
ups.
look probably beat 'em ups, but let us know anyway. Yes, let us know in the comments below. As always, hit the like and subscribe buttons as well. Follow us on Twitter. I am GrimmyD1. He is the Digital MV. We'll be back with more TC topics soon. Until then, cheers.